The next purpose of why we should go for object orientation is encouragement of good programming techniques. A class in an object oriented system carefully delineates the between the interface specification of what the class can do and the implementation of what its interface, how the class does what it does. So here it supports interface. uh, the interface is nothing but the specification of what a class can do. So you are going to specify the capabilities of a particular class, keeping aside the implementation of how that particular thing is being done. So this is one of the important practice that is being that is being adopted in the object oriented development, that is the concept of interface. The routines and attributes within a class are held together tightly in a properly designed system. The classes will be grouped into subsystems but remain independent. Therefore, changing one class has no impact on the other classes, and so the impact is minimized. Okay, so the organizing of the classes and uh, the the keeping the routines and the related data, that is attribute with close to each other, so make that particular thing, that particular uh, class or the data of that particular class safe from the other routines which are nothing to do with that particular data. Okay, so only the routines which needs the attributes or data are kept tightly close to each other, while the others, they do not see that particular data or attributes. The object oriented approach is not panacea. Nothing is magical here that will promote perfect design or perfect code. But by raising the level of abstraction from the function level to the object level, and by focusing on real world aspects of the system, the object oriented methods tend to promote clearer design, which are easier to implement and promotes or provides for the better overall communication. Okay. So this particular uh, object oriented design, it will map very clearly with the real world aspects of that particular system. So this particular system would be easy to implement, and it will provide a better communication between your software, your system, and the real world. Using object oriented language is not strictly necessary to achieve the benefits of the object orientation. Okay. However, object oriented languages such as C++, Smalltalk, or Java add supports for object oriented design and makes it easier to produce more modular and reusable code via the concept of class and inheritance. So object oriented design uh, not necessarily require object oriented languages, but of course it helps that in the beginning with the traditional languages, the object oriented design was implemented by many of the developers. And if the other is also true, that is, if you are using the object oriented languages like C++, Smalltalk, or Java, then you may not be using the uh, idea or the concepts of the object oriented design. So you need to be very precise, or you need to be very careful if you are using the methodologies of the object oriented or the traditional one. Then the next reason why you should go for object orientation is the promotion of reusability. Objects are reusable because they are modeled directly out of real world problem domain. Each object stands by itself or within a small circle of peers. uh, Within this framework, the class does not concern itself with the rest of the system and how it is going to be used within a particular system. This means that classes are designed generically and reuse as a constant background goal. Furthermore, the object orientation adds inheritance, which is a powerful technique that allows classes to be built from each other, and therefore only differences and enhancements between the classes need to be designed and coded. All previous functionality remains and can be reused without change. So this reusability is one of the biggest advantage of object oriented analysis and design. Whenever you are going for new projects or even within the project, if anything that you have already developed, a similar thing already exists, or same thing is required to be used again, then the object oriented approach is the most suitable approach for that particular purpose. So it supports the reusability of the code you have already written. So inheritance is one of the mechanism with which you can make use of it. The classes, you can create any number of objects of the classes, so you are using the same class wherever it is required once you have written that particular class. So, in this topic, we have seen why why we should go for object orientation, or what is the importance of object orientation. In the next class, we shall see some of the object oriented methodologies by Buch, Rimbaugh, Jordan, and Jacobson.